Why is Bitcoin great? Because it is elegantly profound and decentralized. Why is life great? It's like there's no one tinkering with the genetic code of the mice and trying to actually capture 18 billion mice and inject them with a new upgrade. If someone studies Bitcoin for an hour, then they will watch the news for 1,000 days, and they will have 87 moments of anxiety during which they'll sell the Bitcoin. And so Bitcoin has a lot of those people. Like, they heard someone say buy it, and then they buy it. But if you would buy it because someone said it's a good idea, then you would sell it because someone said it was a bad idea, because you're not making your own decision. You're basically reacting to the crowd or sentiment or emotion. So, a lot of people make investments based upon a recommendation from somebody else. And in the non-Bitcoin world, that's almost essential, because there's 10,000 stocks. Most people don't study. How many people spend 100 hours studying each of the S&P 500 stocks? Nobody. Okay, so if you own one of them, then how many people spend 100 hours studying one stock that they own? 98% of people don't spend 100 hours studying the one stock. The stock analyst, the person that covers Apple, they spend 100 hours, and everybody else kind of outsources the thinking to that person. It says the analyst put a buy rating on it, so I'll go ahead and take their recommendation. I'll buy the stock. And when the analyst puts a sell rating on it, they sell the stock. And, that's understandable in the 20th century economy, because in a world where you have to sift through 100,000 different investment ideas to figure out what to buy and sell, you can't possibly do it. A dentist doesn't have the time to sift through 100,000 things. Okay, why do you have to sift through 100,000 different things in order to actually avoid losing all your money? And that's because the money's broken. Most people don't have the time to run their own hedge fund, so they're the worst of all worlds. They're taking the risk of a hedge fund, but they're not putting the effort in to run a hedge fund. And even if they did, how many 65-year-old retirees, have the ability to do stock analysis on 500 different stocks? Like, I would argue almost none of them. So in this particular case, Bitcoin is a new asset class. It's digital money. Once you understand it's digital money, and you probably get there somewhere between 100 hours and 1,000 hours. Once you understand it's digital money, then you realize that the strategy is you just buy it and keep buying it, and don't sell it until you have to pay a medical bill, or until it's an urgent life or death matter where you just have to sell it. But otherwise, you just keep accumulating, and you wait for all of the chaos and entropy and inefficiency and disorder that undermines every other asset to take hold. The longer the time goes on, the more difficult and the more disorder there is, and the more people appreciate the value of good money. So I wasn't bothered by the volatility. I was just waiting, for nature to right itself. And I think that the biggest mistake you can make is become insecure. Is it money? Is it not money? Right? Once you've made your decision, you're committed, then you're just thinking, if the price is low, that means I get to buy more. Western civilization used Roman numerals for a long, long time because of the Roman Empire. And if you've ever tried to use Roman numerals to subtract and add and divide and do math or program a computer, I don't know anybody that actually programs a computer with Roman numerals today. It's very, very challenging. But it was pretty sticky for a couple thousand years. And then at some point, Arabic numerals came along, and someone said, we use these numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and it's just a lot more efficient. And here's a new notation. Now, why does it take people so long? Well, because the old protocol is embedded in everything. It's embedded in the accounting. It's embedded in the law. It's embedded in... everybody spent 30 years of their life learning it. And so people struggle with new protocols. And so if I come up with a new protocol, which is an order of magnitude better or 2 orders of magnitude better, right? You have to migrate the institutions, the governments, the individuals, and oftentimes you have to have a generational shift. Bitcoin represents a new economic protocol, a new monetary protocol. So you have 5,000 years of recorded history during which humanity has functioned with defective money. Every single book was written in a world where the money was mathematically defective. And it's impossible for you to appreciate the theoretical sound money or proper money until you've seen an example of one. Right? You have to see one clean money. The Austrians, the only model they had was gold, but we knew that. But you couldn't make the argument in favor of perfected money using gold as an example, because gold actually suffered or created hyperinflation in Spain, in the 16th century. So someone could say, well, look, even in the gold standard, they had hyperinflation. So I guess gold's not perfect. So then my paper money is okay. So I think after 5,000 years of billions of people all writing about politics and economics based upon defective money, it's not surprising that it takes more than 15 years from the first theoretical establishment of proper money before people start to absorb the idea of clean, sound money, right? I mean, like there's not a single PhD economist that actually went to school in the era of perfected money, right? And I think Bitcoin provides an inspired example, as does nature. For example, your DNA in nature transmits all that's necessary for the future of the species. And so from a small strand of DNA, millions and millions of creatures can form, and those, whether it's birds, they kind of come out knowing how to fly, or a spider knows how to spin a web, or, a fish knows how to swim. You look at them and you're like, well, how did they figure that out? And it starts with a strand of DNA. You basically inject the most elegant protocol, an elegant piece of code into nature, subject to the laws of physics and the laws of nature, and then life manifests. And it's beautiful, right? Whether it's a tree or a bird or your dog, right? With regard to Bitcoin, you have the most elegant piece of code, a very elegant protocol, right? With not that many lines of code. It's like a virus or like a strand of DNA. It's a genetic code for a system, a trust network, a money network, an energy network. It gets released and it spreads to 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, 1 million people, 10 million people, 100 million people, and it metastasizes and it moves through corporations and governments and nonprofits and the like. Why is Bitcoin great? Because it is elegantly profound and decentralized. Why is life great? It's like there's no one tinkering with the genetic code of the mice and trying to actually capture 18 billion mice and inject them with a new upgrade, right? There's no one that's actually, when you start trying to sequester 1 billion people and inject them with your idea, right? It doesn't make things better, right? So centralized planning and centralized tinkering actually undermines the ecosystem. It doesn't help it. So nature is decentralized and elegant, and Bitcoin is decentralized and elegant. And so now we get to the question of government. What's the best government? The least government, decentralized and elegant. Some simple, elegant rules, right? That are decentralized and pushed down to the most local element. With Bitcoin, someone comes up with a better idea for Bitcoin and we just ignore them. You fork off of Bitcoin and you know what happened with the Bitcoin forks, and they all go to zero. And that's basically natural selection, the laws of nature.